Okay, so we've all heard the theory and myth of playoff Jimmy, but is he really different? And what is he really doing differently that makes him playoff Jimmy? Let's get down and let's check him out and see what he does that you could potentially do to allow yourself to score more points and help your team win games. Let's get down, let's check him out. But really quickly, if you want to be able to jump higher, make sure to go check out the vertical jump training book that is down in the description below. Okay, so one thing that allows Jimmy Butler to be, of course, playoff Jimmy is he is a very aggressive player and he turns it up when it comes to the playoffs. Now, this was just a smart move. The fact that his man is guarding him way in the paint, allowing him to have essentially a wide open three-point shot with nobody guarding him, that's silly, that doesn't make any sense, and that is always going to be a knockdown shot. Anyone who gives you space, you have to pull that three, you have to start pulling them out of the key. Now, right here, we have Jimmy Butler, and playoff Jimmy is not all about offense. Look at this rebound right there. He is getting up for the rebounds. That's quite high. If you want to be able to jump like this, make sure to go check out that jump training book down below. But he's able to sky for those boards, and he's already looking down court to try and push that ball down court. Remember, we want to be aggressive, and right now he's able to get that ball down court quite well. And because he's such an aggressive player, when he receives that ball back down middle, everyone is paying attention to Jimmy. 4 out of 5 players are currently looking at Jimmy Butler and not looking at the guys that they are guarding. And if you are one of these players who are off ball in this situation, let's say this is your best player on your team, even though he's not the best player on the Warriors. Let's say Jimmy is the best player right now. If your defender is not looking at you, you need to cut back door as Peyton is doing right here, and that allows him to be wide open. And if you are in Jimmy Butler's position where you are being aggressive and you have a lot of attention onto you, look for the pass. You don't always have to score. And given the theme that I always tell all my players, that is, if a player is leaving you open, hands down, even though he's closing out, his hands are down, that's silly. That's terrible defense. And if you have the ability to shoot, like, for example, your coach isn't going to be like, you're benched if you take a three. If you're not in that position, if you're in the position where you're allowed to shoot threes, which everyone should be allowed to shoot threes these days, guess what? Hand down, he's worried about that drive. This defender is taking away more of the drive than the three-point shot. And that is exactly when you should be pulling for that three. Because now that's going to pull that defender out so that you can drive to the basket. And when you are the top guy in the team or one of the most aggressive guys on your team, if you can just merely get into the paint, if you have a favorable matchup to get into the paint, that maybe gives you maybe a 20% chance of scoring when you are in the paint. Try to attack the paint as often as you can because this is going to collapse the defense. That's exactly what has happened right now, and there is a somewhat pretty good three-point shooter out on the perimeter who is wide open for the three-point shot. Just by getting that ball into the paint is going to allow you to get assists out on the perimeter from your shooters. This is just a really aggressive move. Obviously, this is a play. This is a back screen for Jimmy, and Jimmy gets that ball, but as soon as he gets that ball, he's going up as fast as possible. As soon as he feels that contact, he goes up. You don't always have to be in the most easiest situation. He gets this ball in a tough location. He has 2 defenders who are coming down on him, but as soon as one makes contact, that is an automatic shot right away. You try to make that thing look as difficult as possible as long as you can make it off that backboard, and you are going to get that foul call in a lot of cases. Now, in this case, he gets the kick-out pass. He had the wide-open shot, but look at who is guarding him. A big man who is quite slow, in my opinion. And he's closing out on Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler just has to get that zero, negative, whatever you want to call it, the push step, whatever you want to call it, and to fly by him. Because right now, Zach Edey is closing out. Feet really close to each other, not exactly balanced. His shoulders are not over his toes. He's trying to stop. All of his momentum is going forwards and back for the upper body. This is not looking good, and he is not going to be able to stop Jimmy Butler, especially attacking the paint. But Jimmy Butler landing on 2 feet, coming to that jump stop, is going to allow him to be balanced. And when you attack the basket hard, especially with multiple players who are defending you around you, if you can come off of 2 feet, if you can land on 2 and go up as fast as you can, and then be able to score, that is what you need to be able to do. Be aggressive. Attack the paint as early as possible, as fast as possible, especially with a taller defender. And then going off 2 feet in the paint is going to allow you to be balanced, and this is how you play aggressive. Also on this same drive, I really want to point out the fact that when he comes to that 2-foot stop, he's going inside first. The outside foot landing on the ground first is going to give him more momentum into the defender who is coming over to play help, and that is going to allow him to have a little bit more strength and power. But look at what he's doing. He's going up with 2 hands. You always want to try and go up with 2 hands. If you went up with 1, there's a higher chance of losing that ball. But going up with 2, trying to get your shoulder and also your body into that help defender is going to allow you to be able to have more control about getting that basket. Now in this next clip, they tried putting a taller player on Jimmy Butler still with Zach Edey. The idea here is to take away the shot, but Zach Edey's lateral speed is quick, but I would say that his foot speed is still not up to par into a point, or the point of being able to guard a player like Jimmy Butler. And we can see that right here. Jimmy Butler is able to get lower. He's also able to get an angle, get his shoulder in front of the body of Zach Edey, and then he's able to make contact first. That creates just a little bit of a gap. Now, when he creates that gap, he angles his body out away from Zach Edey. You're going to need a lot of upper body strength. This is not something that a younger player can probably do unless they've been working out. And you should be working out if you are a basketball player, as even if it's just body weight at a very young age, because that is going to allow you to be able to finish baskets like this. Now, he did have to tip it back in, but being able to get your body into a bigger player is going to be very beneficial in you being able to score. Again, now we have Jimmy Butler, who is cutting down the middle of that key. He goes up 2 feet, outside, inside first, because that is going to give him more momentum going towards the basket. And then going up with 2 hands. Now he does bring that ball back down so that he can get around players. This, while some coaches will say don't bring it back down to your waist, is sometimes beneficial if you do it in the right way. If you're basically giving it to the other team, that's not the good way. But this is fine. He was able to get that layup. And also, anytime you are posting up, this is one of those skills that you need to have if you are the number 1 guy. If you are in the low post or high post, doesn't necessarily matter. High post, it's easier to hit guys who are cutting baseline. Low post, you can hit guys who are cutting from the 45 or the corner, don't matter. But being able to hit these guys who are cutting off ball, because look, everyone is ball watching. If everyone is ball watching, guess what you need to do? You need to be able to cut back door. And if you've got a teammate who's able to do that, that's exactly what we see right here. And then is, of course, Draymond Green is able to make that, or almost make that layup. Jimmy Butler then finishes, again, being aggressive, trying to get that rebound. Again, always attacking the basket, always getting into the paint, always being able to go up with 2 feet, 2 hands. That is what you need to be able to do to score in the paint in a playoff game, especially in the NBA. This is what makes Jimmy Butler special in the playoffs. He plays more aggressive. He tries to pass the ball just a bit more. He tries to be as aggressive, attacking the paint as much as possible and getting a ton of rebounds. This is Jimmy Butler. This is how everyone needs to be able to play in the playoffs. Make sure to go check out the vertical jump training book that is down in the description below if you want to be able to jump higher. I'll see you guys again in my next video.